What's up, Planko fans? I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Michael.
And today we are doing a special park tour of Michael's latest sandbox park called Valley America.
Yeah, so thank y'all for joining and checking this out. As for anybody who's followed the series, there have been 13 episodes, and I got inspiration for this park from multiple Cedar Fair parks. I'm definitely lacking on the terrain changes that we saw in Wildwinds, but I definitely think that I've improved with my overall building throughout this park. So I'm really excited to take a look at this and the guest point of view and give you all a tour. So any thoughts before we get started, Jasmine?
No, but I just want to say that this park started off being a collab between me and Michael, and it turned into the Michael Show. So, that's the that's the extent of how it started.
Well, it started too because I started building, and then I gave it over to Jasmine, and I kept being like, "Have you built anything? Have you done anything?" And then I think finally she was just like, "Well, if you want to build on it, you can build."
Yeah, well, he built he set up the entrance, and it was, very Michael-y, and so I was just like, it's hard for me to match his style. So
yeah,
I don't know when we'll be able to do a collab, but
it'd probably be tough for us if we're being honest.
I think it would be.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the tour. So the reason we're starting right here real quick is because I wanted to have the guest entering the park on both sides. They normally go more towards the left, but as you can see, this is all underground, and the guests are just going to enter through the subway, essentially, this subway entrance. So I just put, so now you come out this way. I mean, that's pretty cool, though. You come out and you see the tower, which, by the way, I forget the name of the person who made that in the workshop, but I did credit them over there. Because whoever made that did an incredible job on it, and it's better than I could do. So why try to reinvent the wheel? But yeah, I love this. And so my idea here was with just custom fencing going around. I know I took up a lot of pieces, but I think it looks good to kind of outline the park. But as you can see, so we got bathroom, and then we got pavilion. Some ideas, you have all these buses, so like if there's school trips or something, they could come out, grab their food, and eat lunch out here and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you kind of, if you're over here, you get a little bit of views of part of the coaster. So that's kind of cool as well, especially seeing
it looks cool.
The first drop and stuff. And we'll show an overview of the whole parking lot near the end and kind of the entrance. But the other way that the guests would come in would be over there, as you can see them walking. And there's just another restroom over that way. And then we got the ticket booths, which I do have stalls, and I think 2 or 3 of them, so that the guests can walk up and, so.
Get their tickets.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the scanners, or the, whatever you call them. Security checkpoint, there we go. Then we enter, and home to the best coasters in the world. I don't know about that, but we'll go with that tagline. And then I love I was struggling to figure out what coaster to put in this area, and I just like how that Intamin looks right there, because I know you built one of those in your current park you're working on too, and I just think they give really good sight lines with how the lift hill looks, and then it's a staple of Cedar Fair parks, the power tower. Oops. Don't worry about that. I got to move that down.
What happened?
So the reason why that's up is because I was having issues with, even though I've got that there, people are still walking through this flower bed that Jasmine made. So I think I raised that up to make sure that I actually put that there. And so I'll change that before I upload it to the workshop. Yeah, I got this idea I saw somebody on PC did something like this. I was like, oh, that's a cool touch.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we've got the restroom over here. You got fast lane tickets. Definitely taking inspiration from Cedar Point with this main kind of midway. And then if we go this way, you got guest services, and I did those custom letters. So pain in the butt, but it works real well. And Tall Guy Gaming helped me with lighting in a lot of the park. I appreciate him doing that. So we got some lockers over here, and I love the view of this flat ride with the coaster in the background. And then we got Dippin' Dots Ice Cream, or as he's now called, Tall Guy Gaming. So instead of Dippin' Dots, Dippin' Dots. Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on. But what are your thoughts so far, Jasmine?
Yeah, I do like that you take like real life buildings and try to recreate them, and it makes these unique kind of structures that aren't, squares.
Yeah, this was a pain in the butt to do.
Yeah.
I think this building took me like 6 or 7 hours on a Saturday. And
it looks really good though.
yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And then let's head down this way. And this is supposed to be stroller rental. I was going to try to make it walk-in, but I'm not really great with interiors, and I didn't want to use up too much of the percentage. But so we got the sky lift right there, or skyway, and somebody said that I should lower it just a little bit because it was a little bit too high, and I agreed. So I lowered it from about 124 feet to about 100. And we got some self-serve ice cream, which is what you're going to get, or what you're going to have once we get done doing this.
That's nice.
And then this little area here is definitely straight out of Cedar Point, having this kind of sitting area underneath that. And so really love the views.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I tried to color it to like the Cosmic Cow style, but I just love the view here, how you can see the coaster, which now I'm like, why is that coaster not run? Because I don't think we've seen it yet.
It's not running. I don't think it is.
Oh. Well, that is not what I meant to do right there, but oh well. Here, I'm trying to see if it's...
Oh.
It's running. Okay, we just haven't...
Nobody's on it, I guess.
Yeah, nobody wants to ride that coaster. There we go. Yeah, so sorry about that. In flip cam mode. But yeah, now this was also out of Cedar Point. It's a chicken shack there. But I'm keeping our trademark going, Jasmine, like in my last park. M&J's Chicken. So I'm really like how this building turned out.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
It's one of the better buildings I made, just with detailing and stuff.
Yeah, I really like that. Good job.
Thank you. And, all this has Backstage, tried to incorporate it in a realistic sense. And then right here, this is custom fencing. This is one thing I've noticed at some parks this summer that I think is kind of cool is you don't necessarily always have the fence just right up against the path, right?
Right.
And using that dark grass makes it look like it's mulch.
Yeah.
So it's kind of meant to be like a mulch bed. Now we're heading to the area that is mostly done by Coaster Creations. He's asked him early on, hey, do you want to make a coaster for my park? And he made this awesome dive coaster.
Oh.
That we're about to see right here. Yeah, I mean, he does such an amazing job.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really happy with what he was able to do. And once again, when we look at everything from an overhead view, we'll kind of take a look at stuff in more detail. But now, let's head in here.
He made this whole section, right?
Yeah, he made the vast majority of this section, yeah. So all the queue and, this flower beds, and there's some water effects there. He did the custom supports for part of it because of it being over the path.
Oh.
And that fence, it's just a fence turned sideways, so I think it looks really nice. And I kind of like that too, you kind of having the lights right there.
Yeah.
And as always, the reason why guests aren't coming to this one as much is because it was the first coaster in the park. So that's what usually tends to happen. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at these stats, and we'll hop on that coaster.
Omega.
Yeah, Omega. So it's biggest drop 118 feet, max speed 61 miles per hour. G-forces look great, so we'll chat after the coaster. Well, that was Omega. So, Jasmine, what did you think about Omega?
I really liked that. I liked that he used the strip for the water effects. Because I made a dive coaster and I tried to place like the individual water effects, and like it wasn't straight, and I totally forgot that you can use the straight ones. So I might end up using that.
Okay, and so here is the
photo booth.
Although, is that an American outlet? Or it looks like an American outlet. It's supposed to be like an outlet, I think.
What's wrong with an American outlet?
No, at first I was like, is that an American outlet or European outlet? No,
what's the European one look like?
I forget. But there's different outlets. Like when we go to Europe at some point, we can't bring.
Is Coaster Creations?
Yeah, it's from the UK.
Oh.
All right, so here's what I was waiting for because we couldn't see this on the ride, which that looks really cool.
Yeah, so
where'd the effects go? There were triggered effects. I think maybe what happened is
they might still be there. We just may not be able to see them from this view.
No, I think what happened when I replaced the ride, I think I have to re-trigger the effects that are there. So I'll have to look at that and see if I can change it for the final upload. Because there should be some water effects. But we have a little restroom here. And he continued kind of part of the perimeter, kind of wall and fence, as you can see the outside of the park there. And then the wing coaster. And we got a little kids ride over here.
Yeah, that's really cute. I like this little building. Easy Eats.
Easy Eats, yeah. What I love here too is, you notice the little elevation. Now, you can tell by where her feet are at that she's not actually elevated, but it's meant to look like there's a little elevation change here with the path kind of up here in the middle. So I think that's pretty cool, and I love the planters that he made and stuff, and just the detail he used is just really, really well done.
Yeah, very nice.
And then, as you said, you got Easy Eats. Yeah.
I like that little covering right there. That's cute.
Yeah, it looks great. And if you go to a theme park and they've got one Dippin' Dots, they're everywhere. You'll see more of them. So I've got like 3 or 4 of them throughout the park in different spots. Because everybody wants ice cream on a hot day, right? I'm really happy with how this turned out, and guys, that was actually super easy to make, like doing the top or the part at the top. So that was not as difficult as I was expecting it to be. And then I was trying to figure out what to put in this space here, and I just kind of decided of having a little walk area and with flowers, almost
America.
like a little garden. Yeah, represent America.
I like that, the flagpole in the middle.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the center of the park in a way, so it's...
if only it was blowing in the wind like the trees.
Yeah.
Just the flags were just stagnant, which I think is funny.
Yeah, and then this is a building out of Kings Island that I took inspiration from. And I love the view that the Top Thrill Dragster ride gives, along with that Frisbee-style pendulum swing ride. Yeah, so really, really happy overall with this area. So let's actually head this way. Oh, one thing I was able to do, which kind of annoyed that people can't walk there, but I actually was able to get the path to where, like, let's see where they go. Do they go to the left or to the right? Are they taking a viewpoint of nothing?
Taking pictures of the flowers.
There you go. That's what you would do, right?
Yep.
If they ever move. Let's see. Oh, they just went back inside. No, but I actually did have it where they can actually walk around this whole area in the path.
Aww.
And I didn't do anything inside.
Where are they going to, though? What shop is in there?
There's just a couple food places.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, as you can see, so there's path, just for them to be able to walk and stuff like that. So really happy with that. And then I got a couple of these off the workshop, which I will put the links of who they are. A couple of them are by Cincinnati and Tommy Leeds 23. So it's kind of like a little kids section where they can go play some games and stuff. And then, a basic little restroom, but I think my detailing's gotten better with it. Like, even though it's just the restroom, it's still got some kind of detail to it.
Yeah, I like the water fountains you have.
Yeah, all that is basic art shapes and then the axe. So
poke somebody's eye out right there.
Yep.
Bending down to drink some water.
And then we got Speedway bites.
Yeah, so I have to tell you that Michael just steals my ideas and then puts them in his park.
What are you talking about? Oh, okay.
Because I was making a Top Thrill Dragster roller coaster in my park, and then it turned out to be too big, and then Michael's like, I'm going to put a Top Thrill Dragster coaster in my park.
Yeah.
It was funny. But we actually ended up having like 3 of the same roller coaster types in our parks, which was not intentional.
Yeah. So here's the power tower. Here's where they exit. So I had to make an exit area where they all kind of exited into. And so red tower, blue tower, and yellow tower. Pretty original, right? And then we've got the grandstand here, which is pretty cool.
Do they have that at Cedar Point?
Yeah, they do. It's actually not quite. This one's a little bit different.
Up there on flip plan mode?
Because it's even though there's not a pass, certain things allow you to hop on for flip cam. And so
Did you make that station?
Huh?
Did you make that station?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing with it. I'm happy overall with how it turned out, but it's not one of my stations that I'm like,
I know.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for this coaster. But yeah, so this one, we'll see it eventually. Since it's in the back of the park and we can only have 4,000 guests in the park, not a lot of people come to this one necessarily. But this is like at Cedar Point where it's kind of back in its own little nook. And this is called Lightning Racer, even though it's red, but it still could be Lightning Racer. Because you're going fast. Fast as lightning. But I definitely need to show you in the end the backstage and stuff I did here, because I'm really happy with how all this stuff turned out.
Yeah, I remember you spent a lot of time on that.
And so, Cedar Point or Top Thrill Dragster's got like these multiple queue areas. But what I did, instead of using up the percentage for the pathing, I just kind of roped it off. So like we're going to pretend like it's a weekday and the park's not that busy. So they rope off a couple areas. Same thing here.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
A couple of vending machines, because sometimes at theme parks, you'll see vending machines. And you got the TVs there. And now we have, there we go. Now we are at the station. As you can see, waiting for some guests. So while we were waiting...
There's only 2 people on it.
I know, they've been waiting for a while. You know what I need to do? I need to change the... you can change the minimum waiting time. So I'm going to change that down a lot. I didn't do that on any rides, but probably should.
I don't really think about that stuff, though, either.
Yep. So if we go ahead and look at these stats... Oh, they didn't even ride the coaster. What?
I don't know.
266 foot is the biggest drop. So max speed 99 miles per hour. The height is actually 299 feet off the ground. So not quite 300 feet. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a ride on Lightning Racer. So that was the Lightning Racer. Sorry, I had to switch cameras there. And one thing that I wanted to point out is I added the steam effect. Because these hydraulic launches do kind of have a little bit of that. There's kind of some fluids and stuff. And so the idea for this is from King Dakar. And Virgin Night Owl, I believe is his name, did a recreation of King Dakar in the workshop. So I kind of downloaded it and saw what he did a little bit. and got some inspiration from that because he did an amazing job with that. And then this was made by the one and only Rob, this kind of low clearance thing. So I kind of think that works well right there. And then what I love about this, though, is, you know, you got some of that steam and stuff, but I'm just happy with how this backstage area right here turned out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of adding in the extra stuff. You got like the extra little piece of track, scaffolding pieces. And one thing I've tried to do a lot more too is having pathway here for employees so that the employees actually walk back into these doors. So I think it just kind of adds more to the park. And as you can see, this is actual pathway, and it actually connects over here. And so the point of that was because every once in a while there'll be a staff member that kind of walks that way. But we'll head to that area in a bit. And so overall, now that we've looked at the left side of the park, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a really cute park, and you know, and it's very Michael.
Yeah.
But I think you did a really good job with it, with your buildings and everything, and yeah, just good job.
Thank you. And one thing I want to point out here is I did have, because I've got a pathway going here, so I've got a staff room in there, and I've got a staff room in here, and I did actually have the paths connecting, and I realized right away that was terrible because every single guest started coming through here to get over here.
Yeah.
So I realized, yeah, not the best way to do that. But what I wanted to point out here was just kind of seeing the overview of what Coaster Creations did. And so you can see his kind of make-do mulch is the just some art shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got the transfer track here and stuff, and you've got the service road. And he kind of added in extra little, you know, trying to make it look like the concrete's worn a little bit, which is nice.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Is that just paint?
Yeah, it's just paint. It's just taking I think it's like the rock one, that kind of light brown, and lightly doing it.
Okay. Yeah, that looks good.
And so here's actually where staff enters the park, or some service roads there, but we've got this. I'm really happy with how this roadway turned out. And put a lot of cars in here to try to make it, you know, make it feel like it's being lived in. Because I know that's one thing Insomniac said in the previous park was, I got this big park with no cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And so, you know, obviously it takes up storage and stuff like that. But one thing I like too is having this gate right here for employees to go to the other side of the park. Then we've got this road here for the buses. And it's not a huge parking lot, but I mean, this is a pretty small map. But I'm happy with how it turned out.
And I did the planters.
Yeah, she did a great job with the planters.
That's my contribution.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next part of the park. I'm trying to find a guest so that I can get in flip cam. There we go.
The only thing I would say about that bathroom right there is you can't have like signs that are diagonal like that.
Okay.
Just for like in real life for accessibility purposes.
Oh.
You can't have signs that are like that.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know.
Because I don't think any of your other restrooms have that.
No, they don't.
So I don't know why you did it for that one.
I think it's just doing something different.
Yeah.
Let's see. Man, I was hoping the coaster would come by. We're going this way. But I'm really happy with how this area turned out because, you know, just having the coaster fly by, it gives you a different view, which is really, you know, something unique to the park. And then we got the Eiffel Tower there, and it's created by AJ Adams, 97. So I'm guessing AJ was born in 1997.
That is so cool.
Yeah. What's cool?
The Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah. He did an amazing job. So we'll get some views from it in a bit, just to kind of see what the park would look like. But I made this food building here, and with some doors and stuff for guests to kind of walk through.
I was going to say, a lot of people in there.
Yeah, everybody wants to go
gotta
get
go to the
food.
bathroom.
I guess so, yeah. It's a little crowded, but, I mean, let's be realistic. Like, Planet Coaster doesn't do a good job of their guests
Yeah.
using the resources properly. Then we head this way, and, you know, I did all custom curbs and stuff because for some reason I like to waste hours doing that.
It looks good, though.
And then we got a little food place here. What's up?
No, I was just saying, looks like there's a lot more people on this side of the park.
Yeah, and so this was supposed to be not necessarily the kids area, but I wanted to kind of have some more gentle rides, or a couple gentle rides along with the coaster there, because I wanted this to kind of feel like the whole thing's just cement and rides are plopped down, because you do see that a lot in theme parks, right?
Yeah.
And so then once again we got a access here for staff, and
Oh, I like that gate.
yeah, I saw Moomin did it in his video and tried to see what he did to kind of take some inspiration from that. Yeah, so I'm always trying to work on new fencing ideas or different things, and so...
And what do those numbers mean above the thing?
It's supposed to be like wait times.
Oh.
Even though it's not a 5-minute wait time, but...
Yeah.
Now this one is called Sky Reaper. And I'm really happy overall with how this coaster turned out. And so, yeah, it's got a long line, so people are waiting in line for it.
Very long line. It's really hard for me to make, like, queues that are, like, super long like that and make them look, you know...
realistic, I guess.
Good, yeah.
Yep. And so here's the interior of the station, so something a little different. Then if we look at the stats for Sky Reaper, vertical G-force is definitely a little higher. I kept trying to get it lower, but just couldn't quite work out with the spacing that I had. And 6 airtime hills, no inversions, so we'll chat after the coaster. So that was Sky Reaper, and we're heading out the exit now, which, I'll be honest, one thing I didn't do a good job of in designing this was having the exit out the same way the entrance did, in terms of you being able to get out on the same kind of main plaza path. But overall, really happy with it, and kind of this area that kind of blocks off the maintenance area to where guests don't really see any of that. But what are your thoughts as we head back to where we were at?
Yeah, I like that. I like the there was like a little pass-through area on that was nice.
Yeah.
Is this the would you say this is the main attraction in the park, or the other?
I'd say
wing coaster.
I'd say it's probably one where the park would market this one the most. Because of it's got the tallest drop, and that's probably a pretty intense moment after the first drop where you go straight into that helix, or not necessarily helix, that turn. So I definitely think that would be probably the most marketed of any of the coasters.
Okay.
But I mean, or it could be that right there. So that's perfect timing.
Yeah.
So we got 2 more coasters to look at, and we have this one last area, which one thing I did here, which is nice, is for the entrance, I put a food shop here to make it look like people are waiting in line. And one thing that Tall Guy Gaming said, which I could have done, is put an information booth so that they didn't leave with food. But the thing is, I don't have fast lane or anything, so they would never use it. And then that's a restroom, so that you can see people walk in out of it.
That's funny.
That was kind of my idea there with that.
You could have done like an ATM though.
Oh yeah, I could have done an ATM, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Woo! Yeah, it's a pretty cool look, I think. Yeah, I'm happy with how this turned out. Yes, I know that's different colors. Part of it is every once in a while I used a different color for that. So we got another.
I just viewed it as part of the sign for the restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, because of the... Yeah, I think that's why I did do that, to kind of match the color of the restaurant. So you got a little backstage. You got another restroom. Another Dippin' Dots ice cream. And so this coaster, I saw it for the first time. It's called... oh gosh, is it Roaring Timbers? Twisted. I forget the exact name, but it's actually I think it's in Thailand. And it's got a really cool first drop where you're actually kind of banked the whole time. So that's where I got the idea.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's where I got the idea for that coaster.
I don't think I've seen this one.
You haven't? Oh, well, this is a shock then. Now, this is also made by There's Only One Rob, because I think he did a really good job with this planter. So I wanted to use it in the park, because that is a really, really well done. Then now we've got Renegade is the name of the coaster, and ooh, perfect timing. I will say I don't think I smoothed that out as much as I probably needed to, because it kind of whips pretty good into that. But hey, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you've shown this to me.
And so here's the queue. Now, I was not able to do a backstage area for this one, and part of that was due to the restraints on the limit, because the roof that I did is pretty intense, which we'll see that in a little bit. But then I also, and these actually are GCI trains, I believe.
What do you mean?
The company that makes those are GCI.
Oh.
Even though they're ones that go on one of the RMC coasters in the game. But if we look at these stats, G-forces look good. Biggest drop 98 feet. 1 inversion, 8 airtime hills. So let's take a ride on Renegade. All right, Jasmine, so we just got off Renegade, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that was my favorite coaster of yours so far. Yeah, and it just was very... I'm just surprised at how much time, or how much you got in such a tiny space.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of... this last part here was kind of tough to get that working, so I definitely had to lower the friction and stuff. Overall, I'm really happy with it. I love the first drop, and I try to do something different with the station, trying to make it unique, so I really like how that turned out as I used the individual corbels, so that took up a lot. But the part that was tough here was getting the exit down. Because of how the coaster goes right there, I couldn't just do an exit that went straight out, so That was kind of a tedious and pain in the behind a little bit. But now, before we go to the last area, as we head out here into the little mini plaza here, we need to go look back at the transfer track over here, because I forgot to do that before. Yeah, happy with how this one turned out, and I like the fact that the coaster kind of intertwines through it a couple times, if that makes sense. Like this view here, I think is cool, and then you got that little thing there that kind of would move the coaster over, and we got this little space back here. Oh my gosh, there are a couple guests.
They going back there to make out.
Yep. Jasmine's Landscaping Company. There we go. Made by Tall Guy Gaming. There's a couple people. Man, normally there's not a lot of people that go back this way. Normally I just see staff, but
Where are they going?
So they're actually walking over here, and they'll walk through this way. But the reason I did that, as I said before, was to have some of the staff roads connected so that it looked like the staff was walking through different parts of the park. But they actually came from probably right here, because I put a staff building right there too. So,
okay.
So they came from right here. Yeah, so now the last main area, and I was struggling for a while with what I wanted to do here, but ultimately I'm really happy with how it turned out, because it was too small of an area for a coaster, and I didn't want it to take away from the sight lines of the Wing Coaster. But this was made by Jan BK, and I forget the numbers that go behind Jan's name. But he said I could use it in his park, and I did have a sign for him, but he said I didn't need to put the sign up. So we got a flat ride here, and then one of my favorite buildings in the park, the Valley Drive-In Diner, based off the diner at Cedar Point. So you've got the antique cars on the outside there. And I was trying to do a little something. These are just curbs stacked on top of each other, and just kind of trying to change the pattern of stuff.
Yeah, I really like this diner you have.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. And so you got a seating area out here with access for staff, and then same thing on the other side. And so I wanted it to just kind of once again be a place where it looks like stuff was just plopped down in a sense, because you do have that a lot in theme parks. So we got a couple little flat rides, and then we have the 3-point game. And credit to Iron Matty for a lot of this, as I saw what he did, and he'd uploaded to the workshop, so I kind of adjusted it a little bit to fit what I was wanting, like changing the putting the what's that called, the cement stuff there. But yeah, really happy with that.
How did you make the little basketballs?
It's just spheres. So there's 2 right there. So if you delete one, then it's just black, and so it's just rotated slightly. So now as we head to Phoenix, definitely a lot of Gatekeeper inspiration, and so I wanted it to kind of have a really cool, kind of majestic look right there with the station high up and stuff.
Yeah.
Really happy with how this turned out overall. And yeah, so as we head in here, when I replaced the ride after doing the cheat, I didn't realize how far that dropped down. But we got the 2-sided lockers where you can see that side, like a lot of the new rides are starting to do. And then I meant to put up signs, but I forgot about which wing to go on. And if you download this and you're wondering why is the pathing so messed up like this, it's because I didn't have the path on flattened terrain when I was placing it, and since everything's in rectangles like this, when I was trying to cover up the path, it was like part of it would be covered and part of it not, so that was a pain in the behind. But this is the custom walkway that I had to make. That's a cool view, and I had to do custom supports too for part of the lift and that first inversion. But overall, I'm really happy with this. I think this is my favorite station that I made. It
looks nice.
You got the operator booth there, which on Gatekeeper is actually the other side. So I think it's kind of a cool look when you're coming in and, yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's look at the stats for the coaster. What do you think about the station?
Yeah, I like it. I think you did a good job, especially with the other side, the two sides.
Yeah.
It made it look natural.
Yeah, just wait till you see the exit part. That part is just tough. But yeah, there you can see the stats, 5 inversions. We'll talk to you afterwards. So that was, I almost said Gatekeeper, Phoenix. Jasmine, what are your thoughts on Phoenix?
What are your thoughts on Phoenix? I guess you made it, so you like it.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think there's some things I could have done a little bit better. Like, I think it takes a little bit too long for it to get into the actual descent, I feel like. Because I tried to have this where it's got a little bit of a drop, but I don't think I did it as much. Because if you actually look at the real life wing coasters, it's like you can see it's going down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it just takes a little bit too long to
do that.
Maybe not watching it from that way. Maybe it's just because we were in the front instead of in the back.
Yeah, no, I like this one.
Yeah, I'm happy with it, and I like the space that it kind of takes up. And then you look here at the transfer track. So definitely just got this straight from Gatekeeper, and I don't know why Gatekeeper's transfer track doesn't have a roof. But yeah, that's kind of what I did here. And so, yeah, overall, I think I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And so one other thing I wanted to point out, and then we'll look at stuff at night, is kind of how the park's connectivity, if that makes sense, which I added in some power boxes and power lines around the park, just because obviously a park's got to get power, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So around the outside, since I had some extra space to work with, I just kind of added these power lines, and then at different parts they go into the power box, and then in theory go down into the ground, essentially. But it's kind of like in the areas where you're not going to see it, they're above ground. But as you can see, we've got a connection to the park there. You got a connection way over here. And so I tried to have all the roads connected to some extent, with a lot of connectivity between each part. And so that's something I really wanted to try to work on, is having all that to be realistic. And I think I did a pretty good job with that, which I totally forgot to put backstage stuff in this space until I'd already run out of counter space. So
yeah,
that's why there's nothing there. But yeah, so let's take a look at night. And actually did some night lighting. What was that?
No, I was just no, it looks good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, actually, a little bit of lighting on the coaster there. So I like that I tried to make stuff colored differently. Like obviously the Eiffel Tower, the lights were already there when you download it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this. And then now if we look at a view from the Eiffel Tower, so this would be
Didn't you say Tall Guy helped you with lighting too?
Yeah, he did. He helped me with a lot of the lighting around kind of the main plaza area. So let's go back to daytime for this. There we go. Yeah, so we can kind of see what, in theory, if you were a guest and you're walking up here, what you would see, right? Mm-hmm. So you see the wing coaster there. You come around this way, see the main path and plaza. So yeah, really, really happy overall with the views and stuff here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. And so while we wrap it up, let's take a ride on.
Yeah, I don't think you showed us the station.
Oh, the station. Yeah. Okay. So the station is just a copy on both sides. This also took me a while because to outline the path, like for example, if I delete that, you've got this ugliness that's the path right there. And so I placed down a couple pieces there. And so this was a pain to do that for both sides and on the other one. But I think it adds to it. So I think it looks
good.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. It wouldn't look near as good without that being done. And so overall happy with it. Definitely got inspiration from the one at Cedar Point. So I just think it's very iconic and a great look. But yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can hop on one of these to take a little ride on the skyline. Let's see, what do we want to sit? Do we want to... we'll sit as the guest view a little bit. If this thing actually moves. There we go. So we can see the view that the guests see a little bit.
I remember riding these at Disney, and I was kind of freaked out because I'm not really big on heights, but it actually was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And we took it to get from one park to another park, and it was nice.
Although when we went to Disney a couple years ago and we took one of these, it stopped for 4 minutes while we were halfway. So that's not the best.
I don't really remember that part.
Yeah, so overall, as you can kind of see from orbit view, and kind of speed this up a little bit. I like the views you get, so I'm happy with the look of it, because if you've been to Cedar Point, this goes right by Raptor, so it's pretty cool to see, especially when Raptor's running its course, to kind of be that close to it and see it from that height. Yeah. So I believe that is it. I think we've seen everything, don't you think?
I think so.
So yeah, any final thoughts?
No, I think this is a really cute little park, and you've definitely jam-packed it full of everything.
Yeah.
There's not any spots that are empty at all. So yeah, I think you did a really good job.
Thank you. Yeah, because if you're wondering why is there a square outlining the park, that's because that is the edge of where you could build.
Yeah, this is the smallest, isn't it?
I think so. This one's really small. This is a really, really small map. But I do like how you get the view of the city in the background.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it makes it feel like it's maybe like a Carowinds type park where you're close to Charlotte or something, right?
Yeah.
So you're close to a big city, or maybe a Minneapolis or something where there's not a big theme park there, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am really happy with how this turned out overall. I think my trajectory of parks has gone from having basically each time I have less and less coasters a little bit, and I've tried to focus more on different areas, and definitely missing a water ride, but with the limit, there's only so much we can do.
Yeah, water rides aren't my favorite.
No, I don't ride them, and they're just not fun to make.
Yeah.
But I could have had track ride in here somewhere. I just couldn't quite figure out where to fit it and how I wanted that to look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate Coaster Creations and Tall Guy Gaming for helping me out with part of it. So their links to their channels in the description below, as well as a link to this on the workshop if you are on PlayStation 5 and want to download it. But yeah, any last thoughts, Jasmine?
No. What are your plans for your next park?
Okay, so just got a PC. Getting it for Christmas, I guess I should say. We bought it, but I'm waiting to use it till Christmas or open it. So I'll probably start playing around with that and playing at Zoo some on PC. But I'm thinking about building a little park in Maddie's biome that he made. So trying to kind of have it more on the British style of parks and challenge myself a little bit with that, with the British style coasters and stuff like that. But we'll see. That's my next thought. We're watching Jasmine's parents' dog for the weekend, and she was sleeping, and one of the cats just jumped up on something, and she just freaked out. So that's why I laughed. But yeah, those are my next thoughts, or what I'm planning on probably doing next. But just stay tuned for more videos. And so, Jasmine, what about your park you're working on? How close to being done is that?
I'm almost done with my Wild Dominion park. Just doing some last minute touches. So I don't know if that'll be out. It probably won't be out by the time this comes out. But yeah.
All right, so stay tuned to that as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and talk to you later.
Bye.